Hello and welcome to Yamato. So Yamato, the tier 10 tech ship for the Japanese battleships. The pride and one of the first battleships in the game. And it is still one of the best battleships in the game. Now, for economic boost without a contributor flag, 50 to credits, 105 to ship XP, 115 to commander XP, and then, well, without the booster also, it's just 150. Now, whoops, sorry about that. Armor-wise, she's still pretty tanky. She has 37mm bow, 50mm deck, that'll literally 50mm front end deck, 57 on the main part, 50, and then she gets 32 along this whole part. Upper belt armor 32, and then her belt armor 410. Of course, everyone knows Yamato had a lot of armor. But let's pull some of this armor away, and you'll see. Let me put that one on that part. Take that part off. This is where we get into Yamato's weak points. Again, you can see the Citadel is literally clear above the waterline. But there is a cheek spot. Literally, if you're angling wrong, and you see how the Citadel sticks out like this, at this weird angle, that's what most players call the cheek. If you ever hear, Yamato players or anyone reference the cheek in their videos, this is what they're talking about. Is that little part of armor that just kind of juts out there like that. That you can Citadel it at just a specific angle, and no matter how it matters, and you can still Citadel. Now, usually you can do that with most battleships, but a Yamato versus Yamato is one of the best ways to get this cheek armor through. But that is really her bread and those are her main weaknesses, and then the usual always fire. Fire burns everything. Even though she has 50mm and then a 57mm, and that 57 is fairly resistant, a lot of cruisers just burn this deck. So you want full survivability build on Yamato. Survivability wise, she's got 97,200 with a 55 torpedo reduction. Now this thing will take torps and can still float. It just depends on how many torps you take. Torps will sink it, but you've got to take it on the belt armor. If you're taking it, on the bow, anywhere besides that torpedo protection right here, it's going to hurt. So you've got to take it on that torpedo protection bulge. Now, gun-wise, this is what Yamato's all about. Her 460mm 18-inch guns. Now, these guns have a reload speed of 30 seconds, 18-second switch time, around a minute turn time. Max dispersion, 238, so really good. 27-kilometer range. HE damage 7,300. No reason you're ever going to be shooting HE in Yamato. 35% chance, 77mm pen, 805 velocity. The AP, you should always be shooting AP in Yamato. Absolutely. Because Yamato's guns pin everything in the game, no matter what angle it's at. 15,000 max damage, or 14,800, but rounded up 15,000 max damage, 780 velocity. That may seem slow, but they're actually pretty fast and still easy to lead. AA wise, not much, but you look at her armor, or AA, she only gets 6 of these, 6 dual mount 127s, 6 mount dual mount 127s, and then these 155s for her artillery, which are Megami guns. Airstrike, 2 attacking flights, 2 bombs, 4,900 damage, not much. AA wise, that's where it gets hairy. She only gets, you know, 2 times 2 13mm machine guns, 6 single mount 25mm, 52 triple mount 25mm guns, 6 dual mount 127s, and then the other 6 127s. So not much. AA damage continuous 255, not much. Max shell 1610 if they get caught in it. AA range pitiful at 5.8. Again, most CVs will just destroy you in a carrier and in anything. I mean, let's be honest. Carriers, the AA just don't do anything to Yamato now. I mean, you can still take the torse, but they'll just damage stack you and hurt you. Maneuverability wise, very hard. It's 28 knots. It seems decent, but it's still pretty slow for Yamato. 900 turning circle radius. So you turn broadside in this, you're dead, basically. 22-second rudder shift. That's pretty bad. Concealment, not bad with a full build at 14.1, so it's not horrendous. So exterior-wise for camouflage, she does get, if you do complete a collection, you get the K-17, you know, camo, which is like a high school fleet camo. If you want to buy doubloons, you can get the core Bayashi camo for it, which doesn't do much anymore. If you want to buy for the Halloween camo, you can get the Scorpioid camo, which looks pretty cool. But the default camo is basically this. And then when you get the ability to mount the second camouflage, it goes blue like this. But I just run the K117. Now, module-wise, this is how you want to run Yamato. You can take main armaments 1, but I prefer to keep my AA intact just because you're going to need it. And then you want to go damage control 1, aiming systems mod 1, damage control mod 2, concealment. And then if you don't have the legendary module, then go main battery reload. But the legendary module, which you can get in the armory for 19,200 research points, I got it when they were first released, but it's one of the best in the game. It does give you a -12 to battery traverse speed, but it does give you a 7% to main battery dispersion. So you're going to be a lot more accurate at long ranges. So you can actually choose to fight at longer ranges and still have the accuracy. And you'll see the accuracy in the replay. How the shells are not how the enemy maneuvers, but the accuracy and the shell dispersion is still there. Now she does get repair party, and then we'll take off these flags so you can see that. Then she basically gets 5 charges of repair party and 4 charges of spotter plane. Okay, so not much. So let's go to the build. So, of course, gun feeder for switch time. Emergency repair specialist. Grease the gears. Adrenaline rush. Emergency repair expert. Concealment. And fire prevention. Now, it really is dependable on what you want to do as far as the last skill. If you want to take this skill, priority target, or if you want to take torpedo reduction damage. I would honestly argue this one because it gives you more ability to defend against torps. But if you want some more speed, you could also take brisk, which would make you undetected. It would make you go almost about 30 knots. Well, it would make you go 30 knots with a speed flag on also. So let's put a speed flag on there so you can see. Yeah, so you go about at least 30 knots with the brisk on. But for all intents purposes, I would honestly, for my last 2 points, I would go vigilance. Just because it gives you 62% torpedo reduction, plus you get that 25% torpedo acquisition range. So that could save you, since you don't have the best rudder shift. So I would go Vigilance over everything else. But let's get into the replay, and I'll show you how Yamato still does it. And it doesn't matter if you're getting big damage or whatever. It's about how you play the ship. So let's get into that replay, okay? Hello, and welcome to WOW's Operation Replays. This is your host, Lord Holland, and today we are having the king of Overmatch today, Yamato. Yamato is a tier 10 tech ship for the Japanese battleships. I wish it was the American battleships, but Yamato. So this is a legendary Yamato, and as you can see, I do have flags on it. Now, I usually recommend not running flags, but I did have this running the ship in clan battle, so if you see flags on some of my ships in some of my videos, it just means that I haven't taken the flags off, because I forget. But this is a very, good match, in that it just shows you how strong the Yamato is, but at the same time, why a legendary Yamato, and just why everything about and why this ship has basically been able to stay relevant for so long.
Get back! All forces, provide cover for that target.
Now, I mean, basically we're arguing in chat is that the Yoshino should have been gone south and helped, the Palmer. But he basically goes about halfway between C and D, or D and B, and then turns back around. It's only after we literally tell him, hey, go help, that he turns back around and heads south. It's like, what? My Blanc Z friends are basically telling me to, you can basically sit in the middle and shoot everything. Well, I try that, and I don't really like to. I'm not a sniping. Yamato can be a sniping battleship, but I don't like playing as a sniping battleship. I like playing it, from the front or medium range, not at like 20-some kilometers. But it also does help to also wait long enough to see where the enemy going, because I mean this ship isn't that fast. It's not fast at all. Let's be honest. It's not fast. And you can see there that yes, my shells are my aim and everything is a little off, but the dispersion and everything at that range is, you'll see it across the whole game, is very consistent. Everything's super consistent. Shells just don't hit, and it happens. Unless you're like one of those 60% players, 77% players that can basically shoot everything, and you're perfect with everything, then okay. Two shells, almost 10,000 damage. That's the one thing, I love how they balance these big guns versus the little guns, is that, like, it only takes a few shells, and I thought this should have been a really good strike. Like, you see that. He is turning, like, right into those shells, and you would think, okay, they'd hit. Well, RNG just wasn't with me. Like, either I underlet it a little bit, most likely, or he turned out faster than I thought he would. It's at this point that I'm like, I'm gonna go in. I can't shoot anything back here. I gotta push. And we see there that the Tulsa had activated his radar. Our Clever could have helped, but I take a shot on this guy because we get him. I need to get him down. First blood, so it gives me about 4,000 more damage. Okay, not much, but it is on a DD, so it adds up. Plus, we killed the only DD on the side that can spot for these battleships,
Torpedoes,
and we've got
front.
2 destroyers, so we can basically take the A side right off the bat. They've taken the B side, but then again, or the C side, but they get that for free. And B's still wide open. So the way this game is looking, it's looking more in our favor every second. Because usually you fight over A, and I'm asking the Stalingrad to push in because we can basically push these guys and take all these guys out. Now, the Hindenburg here is with a Nevsky, I believe. Yeah, they're right there, both of them. They're Brazilian players. Now, I'm not bad-mouthing, but I think a lot of players would, and the high-end clans would agree that the Brazilian players aren't that good. I mean, I'll be honest, I have to agree with them. I've gone against them in clan battles, and they just seem to fold. Plus, these guys, we were just in a match with those two guys, and they weren't really that good. So, when we saw them on the enemy team, we kind of knew that they were down 2 cruisers. And I'm sure other people have had experiences with Brazilian players, but that also shows that even though they are technically on the NA server, regionally, I would honestly say that I think the South Americans are, well, below the North Americans. And I count Canada as North America. So, it's unfortunate. But it's unfortunate that they do get that reputation. It really is. But they really don't do much to really help them, you know, change it. Now, the Daisen is going broadside to me. And let's see what these guns do to a Daisen. I haven't had much luck shooting at long range, but okay, so we're at 17,000. 3 shells. So we got about a 26k salvo on that. 1 Citadel and just a bunch of chunks. And you see that the Vermont is just getting hammered. Vermont's going down the Shimmatorps. Vermont's a great ship, but he is just not having no luck shooting at anything. And I'm not getting Citadels like I really wanted, but I'm getting, like, good pin damage. And if you're not Citadeling into Yamato, if you're still chunking good damage, you're still doing a good job. Now, I'll be honest. Ooh, that Nevsky just got hit real hard, probably by the Stalin and the Soyuz and the Montana. But, I'll be honest. Yamato has my lowest win rate ship. At like 40-some%. Actually, I think it's around, last I checked, it was like 47. But this was my first tier 10 ship. So my first real introduction to tier 10. So, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that most players, their first tier 10 ship is going to be their lowest because they still haven't learned the playstyle. But as you go through more tier 10s, your playstyle kind of evens out and your win rate equalizes. And I'm not ashamed to admit that I have shit win rate in my Yamato, but my damage is still good. Everything else is still good in my Yamato, it's just my win rate. But Yamato's always been a damage dealer, more than a win rate kind of ship. At least in my opinion. Now, you see, everything is literally just bunching up in the H and J line. Literally, they're all just running south at this point. Besides the Nevsky and everything. Like, Nevsky's going to turn back around and just start at this point. But you see that, literally, this Conqueror's going broadside to me. And he's basically at 50,000 health and going down. Okay. But you see that just the legendary Yamato makes every salvo has been fairly consistent. And 14,000. So I'm up to 85,000 in a Yamato. It's not bad. And I'm just showing a broadside to a Hindenburg and a Nevsky. Like, going like, I don't really care. But that's, you know, it's those... Well, one of them is the Brazilian player, and I think the other one... Yeah, the other Nevsky died. So, I'm not really concerned. I'm more concerned with this Thunder, or this Conqueror. Because he's the one that's gonna, well, burn me.
Problem solved, sir.
And another 11,000. Last shell out on him. Your salvo. And I do pick up the Conqueror. And the cruisers don't set me on fire, but the Conqueror does. That's why I wanted him gone, because I knew that would happen. The cruisers, yes, the cruisers can set me on fire, but they haven't been having much luck. I mean, look at, I'm just throttling my shots back, throttling my speed, and I'm just stationary. I should be a very easy target, but you just see how the Hindenburg is having such a hard time. Like, you can see the shells coming in from him, and you can see all these cruiser shells. I'm just tanking this damage. I'm not even worried about it. I got 3 fires, but 2 of them go out from the Conqueror, so it's only like 1 fire. And they're not hitting my superstructure. They're hitting my belt armor, so half the shells are just breaking on my belt. It's like, I'm not even worried. And they're like, LOL, undamaged Hindi, hugging the Exodor. That was kind of funny. But I mean, there's nothing they can do. We have a 700-point lead on them. And basically, this Brindisi is going to go down. He turns right into my shell. He turns right into my shells. We take out the Iowa, game over. An easy peasy game. 129,000, which is, you know, it's average in a Yamato. It's not my best game, but still pretty good.
Alright, one more game. What tier?
I'm down for whatever, honestly.